host, a man named Larry Kramer. He'd been talking about AIDS since 1980. Nobody really wanted to listen to him. Classic case of killing the messenger for the message. He talked about AIDS as being a medical, moral, and political scourge. Medical because it was a disease indiscriminately attacking people. The most fundamental thing our body has, its immune system. Moral because there were those out there that thought it was a discriminating disease, eliminating all those undesirables. And obviously a political scourge, because our government, not through its actions, but through its inactions, allowed that morality to rule.
It is the exact opposite. AIDS in Africa is exploding at a devastating rate, and there's very little talk indeed of any kind of prevention. So we traveled there to find out how AIDS is making its way into countless homes and leaving in its wake a generation lost. Tim, you have AIDS. You've had AIDS for about 10 years? Mm-hmm. And you're here in Uganda. What for?
I'm here in search of HIV's homeland and a sense of value for myself. As a gay man, I am worth something. That is the fundamental key for me. That was the very beginning point. Because as a gay man with AIDS, I was told I deserved to die. Many of my brothers followed suit on that. So have many of my sisters, too. It's called the nocebo effect. We all know what the placebo effect is, the sugar pill. We believe it'll work, it'll work. Well, if the doctor tells you you're dead in 6 months and an hour, and 6 months and an hour later you're dead, you believed in them. I never believed in the Western system. I didn't believe in the values that they had wanted to perpetrate on me.
What does the search consist of? You talk to people, you read books, you walk the path where AIDS was?
All of that, and specifically the very last one. I know that when I went to the Soviet Union and China, my ideas of what they were totally shattered. It was all my preconceptions. Anything was just not the case. I know that while I'm here in Uganda, my perception and my interaction with HIV and AIDS is not ever going to be the same again. It will always be different because of this experience. I want to transmit that knowledge and this experience to other people. It's why I have my two friends with me, a writer and a photographer, and I have my video camera. For me, the search isn't just about for my own sense of value, but to transmit that same kind of knowledge to others so that they themselves can gain a sense of value for them, particularly in our country. To quote Thomas Jefferson, no experiment can be more interesting than that we are now trying, and which we trust will end in establishing the fact that man may be governed by reason and truth. Our first objective should therefore be to leave open to him all the avenues to truth. I cast a healing circle in the universal heart space. To join the circle, hold in your heart the healing you require in your life, and listen to my story through that need for healing. Come on, let's go show this to the radical fairies. Let's go to this gathering that I know Beltane. I was like, what the hell is a radical fairy, you know? I mean, I honestly didn't know what it was, but somewhere inside something rang true and said, yeah, I gotta go. So one of the people I was talking to was my friend Kevin, and I asked him if I couldn't borrow his video camera, and he looked at me and laughed and said, go buy one. So I did, and 10 years ago today I received it in the mail. And then I left for my first fairy gathering 10 years ago, and it changed my life. Because it taught me that what I was not a homosexual. Yes, of course I have sex with people of the same sex, but more important to me is the fact that I love people of the same sex. It's not the physical act of sex that's defining of me, it's the emotional content of the act. And when I realized that, it changed my life, and it made me understand that I was a valuable person, that you could base culture on love. AIDS, the virus itself, is a life form. It's a life form. It wants to live. You have to understand that. It's not something that is unconscious. It is very conscious. No question about it. Like any other life form, it wants to live. It is going to do what it can to survive. If we recognize that it is a life form and that it wants to live, you can then understand that there is a symbiosis that is required here, that there is some level of spirituality that must be entertained in a conscious way in order for this to really be fought, both intellectually as well as physically. Well, along the way, then I decided I really wanted to know what it meant to be a gay man. I really did. I really wanted to know. And the best way that I determined to find that out was to attend lesbian and gay events. So for the past 5 years, I've literally been traveling the planet, attending lesbian and gay events, and recording them on videotape, so that I can experience an understanding for myself of who and what I am, but also in the process to leave behind a record for my sisters and brothers 100 years from now, who do not know or will not know what it was like now. This is the time of firsts for my people. It really is. And for me to be able to participate in it and to leave something behind is giving me a reason to live. It really has. And therein lies that spiritual connection. See, I firmly believe that the immune system is where the spiritual and the material worlds meet. Make no mistake. And that placebo effect is a classic example of it. Now, also, I don't know anyone who's ever, no matter how much they wished it, ever got out of this world alive. We all die. We all do. But there's a great deal of gray area in between there. And I've been playing a lot in that gray area. And it seems to me that if one participates in events like I have that really fill one with life and a real sense of connectedness and a real sense of value, that one can't help but channel that spiritual energy truly, and I mean literally, physically, through your immune system into the material world, your body. There's just no doubt about it in my mind. And yet again, I have also no doubt that I will die at some point. So the way that I continue to do it is to find an altruistic / selfish way of really participating in what's going on around me. And there's a real fine line between altruism and selfishness. And if you can balance it... I used to go up to that cave when I was a kid. So there's a disease up there, huh? Makes AIDS look like a sniffle, huh? You turn into soup, huh? You explode, huh? Coming out of every hole? Is that the story? When I read that, I was so terrified that I vowed to myself that someday I would go to Kidham Cave. Because in that experience I would then be able to empathize with all the world. Because I knew that in their eyes I was Kidham Cave. Touch me and you were dead. Then in the fall of '96 I came across Laurie Garrett's book. She explained how AIDS left the jungles of Africa and reached my body. When I read that book, I just knew that I had to go to HIV's homeland. That somewhere, and somehow in that process, I would come across something, that it would be very important for me, and being able to communicate to HIV that I cared about it, that I really was trying to create a diplomatic relationship with it.
I mean, I have to preface by saying, Kevin was my lover, who died in 1993, and he did not have the benefit of some of the supportive counsel that many people have today. There was just sort of an overwhelming sense that death was going to take place. And there was nothing I could do about it. That's how I felt. And so we did nothing, we just went there. Accomplished that with, in some ways, great style. And it was over, in a sense, but not really for me. I was left there feeling completely incapable.
We want to meet PWAs, we want to meet traditional healers, we want to meet people who are working with, networks that are working with the AIDS epidemic. She's going to give us names of other traditional healers. Right. Other people in refugee camps and other areas and other districts of Uganda specifically have knowledge of this cooperation between traditional healers and modern AIDS, Western AIDS technology.
After 2 years of this kind of work, working with traditional healers, following up patients with AIDS who are taking some herbal treatments, we realize that it's not only the preparations, the herbs that they are taking, but it's also the quality of life these patients experience by communicating with someone who understands what they are going through, who understands their culture, who understands where they come from. Every village in this country has a traditional healer or two. So we identify with the people, traditional healers they already respect, they are already going to. Right. And we bring them together and we have several discussions for a period of 2 years. We are interacting with these individuals. It was the first time scientists and MDs were trying to have some kind of interaction, relationships with traditional healers. So it wasn't easy at the beginning. But through constant discussions, some respect has been built, some relationship has been built. We are working with UNAIDS to try and see how some of what we've done, some that has succeeded in Theta here, can be adopted by other African countries, especially in this region. Traditional healers have a certain gap of AIDS education that people realized from a long time ago. Uganda was like very open to any AIDS method that would get the message to the people. So everyone, village leaders, cultural leaders, religious leaders, everybody is involved in this whole education and supporting people with AIDS.
Is there anything you'd like to ask us? I mean, something that we could perhaps tell you.
Yeah, I'm
Please.
particularly interested in your own decision to use traditional treatments rather than Western treatments. What kind of traditional treatments have you used and you feel it's effective in your own life?
I began the process without really doing anything except for vitamins. I've done vitamins and exercise all my life. And I've built serious dosages of vitamins for about 25 years now. Sorry, 20 years, pardon me. And so I continued on that, but in the process of finding that value and looking at it, I realized that the supposition inherent in Western medicine is that the body cannot do what it needs to do, that it has to find these external things. And I felt that that was just educating the other life form and not educating me and my body at all. Traditional medicine takes a fundamentally different approach. It's not allopathic. It's not exactly homeopathic either, but there's a way of looking at a symbiotic relationship there, what your belief systems are, what's available in your immediate vicinity. So that led me towards moving to a town called Provincetown, where I live right now. For gay men in particular with AIDS, it's a haven, because it's a place where what you are as a human being, emotionally, as a gay person, it's not condemned. It's not a political statement, it's a cultural one. So in that very basic thing, I received a tremendous amount of value. And that to me was great medicine. In the process of that, there are other people who have been drawn to that very same town. Acupuncturists, massage people, herbalists. And that led me to talk with them and to find out what's involved. I believe in vitamins and the herbs because what they do is they educate my immune system. They don't take away from it. They don't ever deal directly with the other life form. They deal indirectly with it. And the human immune system is the fence between us and our microbial neighbors. And our microbial neighbors, again, are essential for our own living. So I'm not interested in disturbing that. I'm interested in creating a fence that's good and strong. In the conceptual approach of diplomacy and détente, to use the Cold War analogy, because that's exactly what medicine is doing with chemical and nuclear weapons, I felt that wasn't the way to go. I came here because this is an extension of that very same thing. The search is the medicine. And for myself, again, you all have experienced this for over 25 years now, and you don't have the ability to conceptually push off into the world these chemical approaches. You must deal with it in a different way because you don't have that technology. And I don't believe that you have the cure. I'm not here looking for the answer. That's not it. I'm looking here for a camaraderie, a way of comparing that regardless of whether I live 3,000 miles away from here in a culture that's so different from yours, the fundamental approach of our humanity is still what's consistent. That's what I'm here for.
What is interesting is that some of your beliefs are shared by some people even with AIDS here. Because I know one nurse that I work with who is living with AIDS and she told me she's found a way to live her neighbor HIV in her body.
Yes, it's exactly it.
We understand each other. When I pick some food to eat, I have to negotiate with.
Yes, yes, it's exactly. Now there is one other thing that I haven't mentioned, that I do what we call marijuana. Obviously, you would know that term. I think ganja. I don't know what the present term is here. Is that a utilized herb here?
It is a utilized herb, but mainly for treating certain specific infections like coughs and respiratory tract infections.
Interesting.
Sometimes added some herbal preparations for cough, yeah. And there are people who do smoke marijuana.
The women have told the police that they were following the instructions of a traditional doctor. Local councillors say the group has been gathering at the junction for the past week.
I use it for purposes of wasting. Obviously, I'm not wasting. Number one, but number two, there's also the psychological component to it, because we all know stress is one of the ways that debilitates our own natural healing process. And for myself, the psychological impact of marijuana is essential with respect to that. Carino. Lady Diana Beauty Shop. Prince in the Mud. Well,
Yeah, great.
we're on the way to the guest house. Ooh, smells lovely. Fecal matter and decayed food. Glad I got my boots on. Our ubiquitous protection on the rocks. Not exactly 5-star combinations, but pretty much as expected. So here we are. We're up there with scientists training traditional healers, otherwise known as witch doctors, to utilize more scientific methods, that sort of thing. The main trainer was Tio, and she was wonderful, absolutely marvelous, a really great human being. But her trainer was a man named Moses. Well, Moses turned out to be a fucking fundamentalist Christian, for Christ's sakes. And at dinner, he pulls a homophobic trip on me. Well, I couldn't believe that here's this black African throwing the Bible at me, telling me that I'm against God's fucking will, etc. And here I am saying to him, how dare he say that, looking at the 300 years of contemporary history that the Bible has been used to justify in his own country. I believe that Jesus Christ lived, and I think that he was a traditional healer. And I don't think that he had anything bad to say about anyone. So, insofar as Jesus is concerned, I believe in him and basically what I think he stands for. But the Bible, that's a piece of shit. You know, amalgamated writings of fanatic, sexist, homophobic white men who wanted to rule the world.
In fact, really, yesterday I was a bit tired, I wanted to sleep, but you really talked much, very much about this and that, about AIDS, HIV. And what to do and what one should do and what one shouldn't do. But one point really sank deep into my head. And that was the way, Tim expressed. In fact, he said that it was not actually, okay, really, using one sexual partner was really important. But what was most important was the way you do it. The way you do it is actually matters most.
Put me on the spot, and yet I couldn't quite jump over there. I had to, not that my response I felt was inappropriate, because I think it actually contributed to the conversation, but it definitely was guised in my fear. You know, because instead of saying, I am gay and I stand here with my brothers, I talked about reincarnation.
Let's start the day off really rough. How come you guys didn't come out last night? How come you guys stayed in the closet?
Oh,
you guys,
talking about that?
Yeah. How come you guys were given the opportunity? You never once mentioned it.
No one ever asked me.
Yes, they did. Well, you had the chance. You talked about the man, woman, and previous lives donkey, but you never came out. And Tim, you were given the prime opportunity. I'm just curious, why?
No one ever asked me.
I just never thought about it.
Yeah, no one ever asked me.
It seemed to me that there was a level of
self-protection there. So you're telling me I'm wrong. Okay, good. I'm just,
if someone asked me directly what my sexuality was, they asked me what you. But no one ever asked me.
But why are you using that as a reason for not having said something? The whole conversation was about that. So why are you using why? Because they did not directly ask you, didn't you say something about it?
Just for that reason. You answered the question.
That to me sounds like a cop-out, but that's my own problem then, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, cool. Well, Tim, you were directly asked. How come you didn't say anything?
I thought I was more directly asked about what I thought about it. I told him what I thought about it.
No, you didn't. You weren't very clear because you didn't tell him you were also. That would make a fundamental difference in the answer. His supposition was that you were not. That's why he asked you, because you were the only black man there, and he couldn't believe that you would be possibly gay. And that was why he asked you.
Well, I didn't hear him ask me specifically, like, you're the only black man here, so I can't believe that you are gay. I mean, Tim, okay. I never really tell anyone that I'm gay. It doesn't even occur to me to say that anymore.
namufumbira ku bulezi obw'okuzaamu okw'amaanyi niibi amabo ge yali akoze n'amuwalira ku bulezi n'enfumbira amuwala akola ku yasiirangako ogamye bairamu nabo okuliya nongera okubaguma ng'ono nakola era naabeeyo ku mwezi kale eba mukubira omusaahi ogwo nga gulimu akahuuka ako endowooza tuyangezenka naye nga abantu beno omubyalo eno bakoma nti obulwaire buno bazuule mu bantu beeru naye abatuleetera eki obulwaire buno mukwaba nga bagezesiyako nti oba kino na kino abeeru bandikisanga ku ntungo basobola kukuta kubatwala mu Uganda bakuba abantu abo nga bali mu Uganda n'olutalo lwe basindika.
We have our lovely lunch all set up here. And all the Coca-Cola and Fanta and everything else. Ugandan food, American drink. I'm going to eat last. I'm going to let them all feed first. There we go. There we go.
They represent different gods, different spirits. Each spear pipe.
What is he smoking?
Tobacco.
Tobacco only?
There's also herbs.
What are the herbs?
It's the herbs which he smokes and is able to look through and see things and know things about. Get the messages to know about.
Why is marijuana not one of herbs?
Not allowed.
Because of the law.
That's the law.
So it's not because he chooses not to, it's because the law tells him not to.
Yeah, that's what he's not supposed to put it in there.
I see.
If we are able to communicate like this, there is a greater possibility of finding a solution.
Right. Part of the reason why this is such a problem in the world is because of the imbalance of power. In my country, we express that in the terms of values for individual people. This will show people the exchange of value between two people. I appreciate the offer of the cure and the herb, but for me, my spiritual quest is about personal value that has nothing to do with the material world.
Out of that message, then we'll be able to see the power which enhances what we can do, what needs to be done.
For myself, I would like to hold hands in a circle while we do that together in a circle, if that is okay.
nti ye yandyagadde tukwatagane okutubeera nga tusaba
era bwe kibeera tukwata ku mpagi around his altar.
And he says that's the way it's usually done, and we also touch that pillar.
It's the same. It's the same. That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
No! You thinking before I left? Was I crazy? Were you afraid I was going to get robbed, murdered? What was up with you about me and Kidham Cave?
Well, I was pissed off at you. I was really over you. You were just annoying the fuck out of me. That's what was going on right before. And I was tired and I was constipated. Okay? Really bad. And, you know, broken ribs, constipation does not work. So, I mean, you know, maybe my emotions were slightly elevated, but Tim, on the other hand, clearly, this was like an MTV real-world episode of The Eighth Dimension, where all the characters hate each other, and if you had videotape of everyone you know talking behind everyone's back, we would have been saying as much shit about each other as about each other, you know. And it was at this point of the trip where Tim needed to go alone.
I'm going to Kidham Cave today. I don't think the boys are going to go with me. I think they're really tired and worn out from yesterday. I feel invigorated, alive, and very much afraid. But I must go. I really must. I must go. So I thought I'd choose a rune to help me look at what it is that I'm up to there. Is the rune of questing. Another of the cycle runes. Perth stands at the heart of initiation. Nothing external matters here, except as it shows you its inner reflection. This rune is concerned with the deepest stratum of being, with the bedrock on which your destiny is founded. Another of the cycle runes means Perth stands at the heart of initiation. If nothing external matters, everything, no exceptions, no exclusions. Nothing less. As it shows you, then the renewal of the spirit is at stake. Nothing external matters here, except as it shows you its inner reflection. Nothing less than renewal of the spirit is at stake. I know it may seem foolhardy to be going there because it's so biologically dangerous. But that's the very reason why I must go there. I'm dangerous. Kenyan border. This is it, baby. My heart is pounding, I'm nervous, I'm thrilled, I'm excited, and we'll see what happens. Tough time getting a vehicle. Nobody wants to go up there. The prices are outrageous. It's just, you know. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll see. I'm still trying my damnedest to get a vehicle. We'll get one, I'm sure, because I want to go. I'll go with the first one after all, pay the $5,000 because he's got the right vehicle and no one else does. I talked to one guy down to 3,350 Kenya shillings, which is about... I guess about $60, $63, but they weren't enough. They didn't have the right car. This one does. It's a pharmacist. And, I feel safe here because he's got like computers around. They do look a little bit more wealthy though in terms of the material things in the world. That's the most important part. Those creature comforts, huh? Well, my nerves have certainly settled down. I'm over the first hurdle, trying to find the transport up there. That was quite something. Come to a border, not have a pass, not have a visa, not know where I'm going. I mean, know where I'm going, but not know how to get there. Now I've done that. I feel pretty proud. I feel really fulfilled in that sense, because that's exactly what it comes down to, the sense of accomplishment. Sugar cane. Market day. Oh, today's Saturday. Of course, it's market day.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, of course. Very important day.
This place called the Mayanja.
Mayanja?
Yes. Mayanja Market.
Mayanja Market.
That's right.
Asante Sana.
Asante Sana.
This is the day when everyone comes to sell what they have and buy what they need. I'm on the road here and of course we're stuck. I just hope this all works out. It's getting very nerve-wracking now. We're on the wrong road. Took out of our way to go drop off his employee. So we'll see what happens. Hope to God I make it, man. I was so full of myself for a while there, thinking I had accomplished it. We're on top of the mountain, and for sure he went the wrong direction, so we're at the wrong place, and he's now running out of gas, and he demands more money. I'm making him call his boss to get him to give the okay, etc. I think I've just been burned all the way around by my hubris and by their incompetence. No one knows what's going on. Yourself, hey? Yeah, how about that, huh? Jumbo. Can you see yourself? Yeah? Good. You see yourself too, yeah? There you go. He's having a hard time with the telephone. Oh, isn't that interesting how it does it? You put the shillings in and then it just takes them out as it goes along, huh? Oh.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He thinks he has enough gas, but we'll see. Now that is definitely Mount Elgin. Okay, baby, after all this time, I'm finally here. Let me tell you the travails it's been. I really feel like so freaked out by being here, man. So, I mean, I hope to God this has really been worth it. Almost there. Like the rune said, nothing external matters here, except as it reflects the internal. So this huge ordeal getting here is just that. The internal components. How one views it, how one feels about it. Coming here is so essential to me because I'm coming to the cave in my mind. The fear that exists in me and the hardship endured to get here. To me, that's what it is. That's overcoming the self, the mountain of the self, or in this case, the cave of the self. I've just run here because this closes at 6 o'clock, and it's like 1:15 now. It's gonna take a while to get back there too, so I can smell the dung and the guano from the bats and the elephants. Whoops. Can feel the coolness coming out. Ay, ay, ay. That's some of the cave. That's certainly not where the elephants go. I couldn't get down there. So it's got to be farther up here. Along this cliff edge. You can smell the sweet flowers. It smells like honeysuckle. Here's the water. Wow, now that is definitely bat guano, and Lord knows anything else in there. This must be the way. According to Richard Preston in the Hud Zone, this is one of the most biologically dangerous places on the planet. And here I go, I'm entering into Kidam Cave. May I return. Wow. You can hear the bats. And this is all elephant dung that we're walking on, and bat guano. It's all dried. Smells like a cave. Yes, you can hear those bats. I'm speaking to you from the hottest zone in Kenya, the inside Kidam Cave. And it's everything I expected. You hear the bats? Must be tens of thousands of them in here. I'm deeper in the cave now, deeper into my fear. I've been here. Well, my friends, shall I live to tell? Now back to Uganda and my friends, because they're probably worried, because we should be there now, and I'm not, so. But I'm sure they'll wait for me. It's all goofed up. This is just a piece of shit of a machine, I can tell you that right now. Finally on the Ugandan side, and I get over here, and I look for Steven, and what do I see? I see the lights going off. I'm thinking that's him, so I'm running after him, and sure enough it was him. He told me he just gave up, he was just driving away. I caught him within seconds. That is what this day has been like. I suppose it's really magical, and I know that in the long run I look at it that way, but I feel so incredibly traumatized and worked over and fabulous too. Thank God I did it. Yeah. We too believe that condoms are one of the best ways to stop HIV, to stop pregnancy, and to stop other sexually transmitted diseases. One of the difficulties that I believe exists here, although I'm not sure, and this is a question I'd like to ask, when we use condoms in the United States, we have something called lubricant that we get to use with it, so the condom does not hurt as much. Do you use lubricants with your condoms, or do you just use the condom and that's it?
When you use the condom with a lubricant, what happens?
It makes it easier. It slides in easier. It's not as rough on the person, either the male or the female or two men, whatever the case is. The penetratee.
Kakati agambye ntino kakati atagobyebuliza agambye
They're asking the children to leave the room. Yeah, I figured so. I knew it. I knew it. Exactly what I thought. Lack of lubricant. Yes, I'm sure. I know. It definitely hurts. So, now, there are other ways to have sex that don't require penetration.
Papa.
Oh, no, I like that. Thank you. I do like that.
She wanted you to tell them some of the ways.
Some of them. Oh, okay. When you knew I was. Okay, so I will try to be as clear as I can, but not graphic. Okay. Obviously there. How am I going to do this one? You want to see, don't you? Yeah, sure they do.
I'm ready.
They want to know too. Okay. I think that the mouth has a level of immunity to it that makes it a little bit safer than other parts of the body, number one. There's also utilizing your hands to touch each other, to touch the different parts of the body. If your body is clean and you have a high level of hygiene, then you can use your tongue and to touch different parts of the body, and it would not be an unpleasant at all. Oh, Jesus, can you imagine? Instead of believing in just one way of having sex, the way the Bible says, missionary, let your mind go and see what comes up for you. See what's inside of your heart and what you would like.
The whole idea is for us to keep family history, important family history, so that because we realize that we may die when our children are very young, then they will lose all the important family history about themselves, about us, the good memories. You know, the last thing that our children are used to seeing of their parents, children of parents who are infected, is an emaciated person, wasted, and very little is said about their achievements because the community is very keen to tell them about, you know, your mother was promiscuous and this happened, and the good picture is lost.
Love is the only thing. Love is the only thing. Love is the only thing. So let us sing about love.
Hello, everyone.
I count on you for certain things.
This is Rosette Royale, saying to you all that right now we're outside of Windy National Park, and
Let's put some light on your face.
Yeah,
okay,
that's even better.
Oh yeah, there I. Oh girl, you can see my glasses reflected. Okay, here we are. We are outside Windy National Park in Uganda, Africa.
Move your head so people can see that you're there.
See, I'm here. See my head moving? That's my eye. See, look, I get real close. There, I know you can see me now. I'm looking right at you. Ooh, I'm looking inside your eyeball.
No, show your teeth.
Oh, let me show my teeth. Can you hear
They'll
teeth?
shine.
They'll shine. Oh, let me hide in my butthole. I know that'll shine. Okay. Okay. All right. Anyway, we're in Africa, and we just wanted to say that we're having a pretty good fucking time.
Let me tell you.
That has to be admitted.
It's a transformative...
Masturbatory.
Revelatory. Right on. Gorilla-atory.
Yes.
Moment.
But we really are sitting here right smack in the heart of Africa, babies.
And we're also high as kites.
Totally blasted, totally wrecked.
That's kites.
We've smoked some African marijuana.
That's right. We smoke marijuana from Africa.
That's right. See? That's you guys. Huh? How about that, huh? Okay. And for myself, it's going to be pretty amazing. I've had an opportunity to swim with dolphins, but this will be the first time I've ever been able to hang out with primates in their very own habitat. For me, it's an opportunity to really commune with a different species, one that's close enough to us so that I'll at least feel familiar, but at the same time distant enough that I'll feel an eerie sense of alienness. At least that's what I hope. And
I'm just, more concerned with how my colors will be received by the gorillas than anything else. I mean, I want to know whether or not they really appreciate what I'm going through.
I brought another fashion accessory with me too, in case I really feel as if we're communicating.
I see.
Together, and we really want to share this sort of like cross-cultural species idea. So I've decided to examine that fully.
I see.
So I'm fine. I'm just considering, should I bring another fashion option too? this enough?
Well, I don't know.
That's what I'm going through right now.
Now, are you going to be thinking about the spring and summer lines while we're there?
Well, I dreamt about the spring and summer lines last night. Depending upon what I see today, it may add something to it.
Got it.
You know, I may have a whole silverback line.
Okay, Mr. Lean?
Yeah.
How about you? What's up with you, babes?
I'm sort of like in a very pensive state of mind.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Sort of,
Oh, that's so great.
trying to relax and meditate.
When we are with the walking sticks, we don't go with them up to the gorillas. Because some time back, the local people around here used to kill these animals with spear, that they could spear them. So when we go with them up to the gorillas, they might confuse these walking sticks. We go to the gorillas when we don't have some diseases with us, because these animals are closely related to human beings. So in the case of having some diseases like tuberculosis,
We're absolutely in the middle of the jungle. This is just too fabulous. Wanna does Uganda. Here goes baby. Been on a couple of mountains so far. This is our third mountaintop we're up against here. We got off the track and are now cutting right through the middle of the jungle. It's like too wild, I'm telling you, man. I'm just loving it. Totally loving this. I feel so alive. And when the life force cruises through my veins the way it is right now, I can't help but heal, because this energy has to transmute into the physical world through my immune system based on my spiritual understanding and participation in this event. That's my traditional medicine, or at least some of it.
We're also hacking our way through these damn fucking fire ants.
The fire ants are all over your leg? I mean, really?
They all in my poot.
They all in his pooty, man. There's a baby one right there. Oh, there's another one too. It's the baby. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. That's the first gorilla. Look at that. Look at Minnie, beautiful. That's the silverback. They're behind us too. Totally surrounded us. Time to go back. Okay, Webele. Webele, yo. This was definitely worth it. Webele, yo. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, gorillas in the mist, my friends. Been there. Oh, Peter said in shit. Did you really? He really did. Turn around, let me see it.
Well, it's all over your hand now.
I love gorilla shit.
I love gorilla shit. It's all organic, yeah. I can imagine what kind of diseases are in there too, after all.
Gorilla shit on the back of your shoe.
Do I?
Mm-hmm, the other one.
Yep, I sure do. Yep.
I knew something was, I was slipping and sliding.
And Missy Pooh also got some of it on her. Good. Tourists were just kidnapped from Bwindi National Park by Rwandan rebels.
So at 6:45, they had spread out across the whole area. And they started shooting up, and they got all the rangers, they torched all the vehicles, they killed a ranger, and they took all the equipment, and they got me at 6:45. Wow. Guns, you know, I was just horrible.
So they came to your tent?
I was the oldest, and I started up the hill, and the elevation was killing me anyway. And I started panting about 1.5 miles up, and I said, you know, I'm just not going. And I pulled out of the line, and I faked that I couldn't breathe.
8 tourists, including 4 Britons, were murdered. Their bodies are due to be flown back later today.
So how did SIV become HIV and reach the rest of the world? Yeah, it's possible that it was from raw monkey meat. What's equally possible, though, is that those very same people were scratched and bitten by the monkeys, catching them for our zoos and medical research facilities. Either way, the political, economic, and biological balance of our planet is doing nothing but getting smaller and smaller by the day because of our technology. And AIDS, well, that's just the start.
And it wasn't until my experiences in Africa and the immediate preceding experiences where I realized that this was the nocebo effect. And it was the first time I heard or thought about it in that context when Tim McCarthy, when you brought it up. And it sort of made a huge impact. That's what I dedicate the trip to.
In closing this healing circle, I remind us that it's not about the power of myth and ritual in our lives. It's about who controls the power of myth and ritual in our lives.
Calling all dreamers and optimistic fools. Don't let go of your dreams. Make 'em now, make 'em all come true. If you believe in a brighter day, I know we can find our way. On this island, in the starry ocean, poetry in motion, this island earth, spinning like a dancer, gravity is the answer, rendezvous in the blue, this island earth. Well, I don't know what's in store today. We could spread our wings, we could soar away, we could go like the dinosaurs, they say. The choice is ours to make. It only seems like this to me. We could wake up one day and be history, or stick around to unravel the mystery of how we came to be. On this island, in the starry ocean, poetry in motion, this island earth,